Must be Wednesday night. It's Family Matters with the one and only Kevin Petersen getting in a late snack.
Just trying to get my sustenance for what I'm sure will be an exciting half hour.
All right. Well, welcome. Go creep over at Instagram, Kevin W. Petersen. He's got chronichope.us for all your family resources, family coaching. There's a Facebook group that I have not poked my head into, but I should. I think I'm still a member, but who knows? But anyway, Chronic Hope we're trying to make a change. We do this weekly show. Every single week we answer your questions. If you're watching live, don't hesitate to fire away a question or a comment about Kevin's shirt, whatever it may be, and we'll get to it. If you're watching a replay, hey, type in the comments. We'll get to it the following week. We do this every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. where Kevin is. But anyway, you good, Kevin? What is anything on your heart, on your mind, any topics before we get into the questions?
Not really.
Simple man. I know you can't predict success, but I'm wondering, through all your experience, is there anything you've noticed where sobriety stuck? Is there anything you look for, or any themes, trends, so forth? I get this question a lot.
It's a great question. I get it all the time too. Here's what I get. You've been sober a long time. What are the tricks? How do I get my loved one to do the same thing? There's two answers. First is you don't get your loved one to do anything. It's not, you don't have that capacity, power, or ability. The second thing, and so the best thing you can do is take care of you. If you make a change in your life where you start taking care of yourself and addressing your recovery, it raises the bar in the family. And if they want to engage with you, they have to match it. It's a simple concept. So that's the number one answer is, what's the best thing I can do to assist somebody else's recovery? Get into your own. And there's many different ways to do it. So that's number one. Number two, as far as what's the secret formula or the secret handshake or the recipe for sobriety? Go to meetings, get a sponsor, work the steps, and you do it again, and you do it again, and you do it again, and it never ends. And that's the simple answer. What are your thoughts?
Amen. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's I didn't know what those 12 steps were going to do in my life. And when you start putting the 12 steps into your whole life, I mean, your life changes, which I tell everyone. I mean, I found out the real me, and all I wanted to do was stop drinking for a little while, for mom and dad to get off my back. And lo and behold, like, it stuck. Like, it's a change. It's a good change. Like, it's, I get future trip, and I can worry about I never get to drink ever again, or I can stay in the moment and realize, like, my life is 20 times better than it could ever be with alcohol or drugs or anything like that. Like, I came to this realization. This is shocking, that maybe drugs and alcohol were negatively impacting my life and actually taking away from my life. So shocking.
I can't imagine. I cannot imagine. How could that possibly be the case?
Where does medication-assisted treatment play into your game plan, basically? The producer, man, I'm just telling you. Is that something you let the family decide?
Okay, two great questions. Let's answer the first one first. Medical-assisted therapy or treatment, is absolutely a valid concept, because with the advent of opioids, and heroin, we've always had, all that sort of stuff. But the bottom line is, tapering off of drugs like that takes time. Drugs, marijuana and alcohol honestly, you can probably, I mean, depend. I'm not a doctor. I'm not trying to say, please don't take generalizations. But the bottom line, truth, reality is that most people can, for 3 to 6 weeks, can get the drugs and the alcohol out of their system, and they're doing just fine. I mean, it's not fun. Don't get me wrong. However, when it comes to benzos, opiates, and all sorts of others, meth, and all that, the stuff today, you're probably going to need a medical assistant. And what that's going to look like is we're going to start you off on something so your body doesn't go into shock and completely freak out and shut down. And but we'll slowly lower the dosage. We'll titrate over time to get to the point where you're not dependent upon the drug that you're using. You know, whether it's Suboxone or naltrexone or wherever you're headed with that. But it absolutely has a place in today's recovery, you know, and there's no questions about it. And now, as the last part of that question about the family, it's not up to the family. It's up to the doctor and the treatment team that's engaging with the client. You know, so that I mean, I would honestly say that that's one of those things that you're going to turn to the professionals and let them tell you what they think. Yeah.
Trust a doctor? That's brilliant. I mean,
you know, I think there's plenty of great doctors out there, and they do a great job. And you know, and there's plenty of others that need to learn more, and that's okay too. You know?
Kevin, our family is dysfunctional as they come. My brother has been abusing drugs for 15 years, and I believe the family refuses to step in. It's basically around family secrets, family resentments. You know, there's inheritance. I mean, it goes on and on. I mean, so how do family secrets play into success of long-term sobriety? Or just kind of wellness of the whole family, I guess, should be the question.
Happy families come from happy individuals. Happy individuals work on their shit. Everybody has shit. That's the answer to the question, Jay. Next question. Yeah. I mean, look, let's be clear. Every family has secrets.
Yeah.
Every family I work with have something that they're not going to tell me. It's one of the first questions I ask. So what are you not telling me? I mean, they kind of look at me like, well, how did you know? I'm like, because this isn't my first rodeo, you know? And it's okay. We get programmed into it. We get rewarded for keeping our mouth shut, you know? So we got to deprogram that. Here's the thing. Keeping family secrets can actually, you know, really hurt the people that you're trying to help. If the professionals don't know everything, they don't know what they're dealing with. They don't know if there's a history of trauma. They don't know if there's a history of mental illness. They don't know if there's a history of drug and alcohol abuse. And you have to let them know that stuff. You don't get to be the arbiter of information. You need to dump data and let us sort that out. Okay? I remember I had a family one time that was like, well, you know, what do we do? She's 30-something years old, blah, 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 blah. And you know, this is the first time she's ever been arrested. And like the brother was like, no, it's not. It's the third time. I was like, really? And they were like, well, yeah. But the one in high school doesn't count. She got a DUI. Yeah. It doesn't count. I'm like, guys, everything counts. And so, you know, and I get it. I mean, the families they're embarrassed. They're ashamed. They feel like it makes them look bad. And that's one of the things we really got to work on is teach them that you're not responsible for your loved one's addiction and behavior. You are responsible for how you respond to it. You know, that's the number one thing to remember there.
Good. I guess my family's not the only one with secrets. Kevin, I feel like a bad parent. I try to keep an open line of communication with my 15 and 17-year-old, but it's just so tough to get them to open up. She's looking for suggestions. There doesn't seem to be drug or any kind of abuse, but this is a mom that's just trying to get her kids to kind of open up and have that open line of communication like you always talk about, and kind of just sit down, talk to them like adults and so forth. Like, is there suggestions as to kind of open line of communication without the judgment?
Sure. here's the thing. You know, teenagers inherently are not super communicative, and they're certainly not super communicative about sensitive topics. It's not something they're wired for. They're not taught that. It's totally different. So while I applaud you for keeping an open line of communication and letting them know, what I would also do is refer you to an amazing book called Parenting Teens with Love and Logic, written by a couple of guys in Colorado years ago. And they do a great job of really explaining sort of how to raise your teen and how to interact with your teen. And the best suggestion I have is, you know, love them, be engaged with them, hold them accountable. But don't open, you know, you don't want to be the drill sergeant, you know, and you don't want to be the umbrella, right? The hovering parent. You know, you just want to make it clear. These are the rules and regulations. I love you. These are the rules and regulations. If you violate them, there will be consequences, but I'm not going to beat you with a stick. I'm not going to hate you. I love you no matter what. But if you do certain things, there will be certain repercussions. And that's called being an adult. You know, that's life, right? You know, that's just how it works, but it doesn't mean I stop loving you. And I think a lot of times parents, you know, when I work with them, they get to the point where I've tried rationalizing with them. I've tried reasoning with them. I've yelled at them. I've threatened them. And I'm like, yeah, that didn't work. Really? God, I'm shocked. You know, try holding them accountable with love and compassion and empathy in your heart. Like, hey, I totally get it. But unfortunately, you crossed the line. And when you cross the line, this is what happens. I still love you. I don't hate you. It's just reality. You know, a lot of times the best analogy is helping people understand is that you got to look at it like you're the HR department. You know, and they're an employee that's kind of colored outside the lines, you know, and what happens is, you know, you get warnings and you get a verbal and then you get a written and then you get suspended. And, you know, so just follow the same path. And when you can take a look at it like that and make them understand, oh, no, here's the deal, you know, make sure. And every employee has a handbook. You know, we all know what the rules and regulations are. So that's my thoughts.
No, I mean, you hear families saying no electronics at the dinner table. We're going to talk as a family and so forth like that. I mean, there's ways where it's kind of just, do you set aside and say, hey, like tonight you and I are just going to talk I mean, it's not about getting in trouble. Like how do you encourage kids to kind of just talk about what's really going on?
Well, I'll tell you, one of the first things you want to do is let them set the tone. You know, what do you want to do tonight? You know, and I mean, obviously, I want to go to Disney World. Yeah, we're not doing that. You know, well, I want to go get drunk, and we're not doing that either. You know, but let them don't come in and tell them we're having a family night tonight, and you're going to talk to me. No, they're not. But what you can do is say, hey, you know, I was thinking I want, as your mom or dad, want to spend time with you, or we want to spend time as a family, but you get to pick. Empower them. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? You want to go play putt-putt golf? Do you want to go shoot pool? Do you want to go swimming? Let them pick the event. Oh, I want to go to Chili's. I want to go to a movie. Okay, cool. When you empower them to become part of the family, it allows them to get to a space of being comfortable and talking to you. I know that sounds kind of like an around the bend way of going about it, as opposed to saying, we're going to dinner and you're going to talk. It's like, that didn't work with me. I don't know how it worked with you, you know, but, you know, I think if you can get them engaged in the process and understand this isn't going to happen every time, you know, I mean, people are like, well, I tried that. It didn't work. Try it again. You know, here's the thing. Kids want to know that they're safe, and safety comes from consistency, you know, and they know that dinner's at the same time. And this is what the expectation is. And these are the rules and regulations, and they're going to be enforced. And everybody knows this is what, and it creates this consistent flow of life that makes kids feel safe. When things are all over the place and there's no, and you know, it's life's unpredictable and chaotic, it creates trauma. And trauma is breaking the emotional growth patterns of people. And so, you know, when that happens, you know, you're going to get all sorts of crazy stuff. So anyway, that's the answer to the question.
We are preparing for our 16-year-old son to come back to home after 9 months, 10 months of treatment. I think out in Utah. I think his
Okay.
counselor suggested we have a list of requirements for him to stay sober while living at home with us. Suggestions as far as I would assume that this is kind of like not requirements, but I mean, I'm sure the counselor is looking for ways to empower and so forth. But can you kind of go over kind of like the checklist of what you would kind of looks like he's going to have about a year's sobriety, 16-year-old?
Yeah, this is simple. Let me tell you something. I've worked with these people that come home from a treatment program like this, and they got like a 5 or 10 page contract. I'm like, you got to be kidding, man. And I start reading it. I'm like, by the second paragraph, I'm like, oh my God, I'm bored to death. You know, this is ridiculous. This is absolutely insane. This is not going to work. You know, what we got to do is break it down and make it simple. We have 3 boundaries. 3, 1, 2, 3. This is right out of my book, by the way. Boundary number 1, no drugs, no alcohol. And yes, I realize you just came home from treatment, and I couldn't be prouder. We are going to drug test you on a regular basis, and and if it's an alcohol thing, we'll probably breathalyze you as well. And there's plenty of systems you can use and plenty companies you can get engaged with. I believe in doing drug testing at drug testing facilities for two reasons. One, you get more than a positive negative. You get to find out how much and how often. And those tests, the ones that are administered by professionals, are a lot harder to beat than the at-home treatment program, at-home stuff. So that's boundary number 1. Boundary number 2 is you're going to go to school and you're going to get a 3.0. And here's the thing: you're going to go to every class. You're going to turn in all your homework, and you're going to get a 3.0. And that's the reality of the situation. And we're going to check that by checking once a week. We're going to have a family meeting on Friday, and we're going to check the drug test, and we're going to check the portal at the school and see how you're doing. Did you go to every class? Did you turn in your homework? And do you have a 3.0? Simple and straightforward. No, and you have to be consistent. Consistency as a parent is the key. And the last one is behavior at home. And what I would say with behavior at home, just pick a couple of basic ones. No yelling, or no threatening. You got to pick up after yourself. You gotta hang out with us and eat dinner with us, and you got to be polite and respectful. And when I say we, I mean everybody, not just Junior. Okay, that's a family engagement, and we're going to review that behavior on Friday as well. Friday at 5:00, and that's going to determine the weekend. And I swear to God, every family I've ever worked with that installs this system, magically everything works out. But when they're like, oh, you know what? He started drinking and using. He started screwing around at school. He got mouthy. Things were. I'm like, right, because you didn't clarify what the boundaries are, and you didn't follow through. You have to follow through. Kids love consistency, and so again, that's all you need. No drugs, no alcohol. Here are our expectations at school, and here are our expectations at home, and they're simple and straightforward. Go to class, turn in your homework, get a 3.0. At home, participate, be polite. Simple, straightforward, no arguing. And then you have to check on it every Friday.
Now, those Friday meetings, are those open talks? I mean, if mom or dad is not holding up some of the kind of bargaining chips showing up, the kid can then, it's an open forum, correct?
It is absolutely. It's a family meeting. It's not a parental lecture time, It's a family meeting. Hey, what's going on? Here's where I'm coming from. Where are you coming from? This is your chance to speak. Say whatever you want. I think these rules suck. Oh, okay, cool. Gotcha. Well, I would too if I were you. Unfortunately, we just spent a fortune on putting you into treatment. So as our return on investment, we're going to stay consistent. It's like not changing the oil in $100,000 car.
Yeah. I think that meeting often, families try to set it up, and it's just a checklist. Like it's all about what Junior's doing, and then, all right, to get that open line of communication. We already had a conversation, a question about it just today, like 2 questions ago, whatever it may be. But, that open line of communication is important. I think if the kid feels like he's being heard, I think that goes a long way too. So.
And again, it goes back to everyone, empowering and, be a team, hey, Eddie. What's up, my brother? My Central Florida brother.
Eddie never calls me anymore.
I know. He didn't call me either, to be totally honest.
I was in a good mood. I was in a good mood until I saw that. But anyway, no, to have these kids, I think it's important. I mean, just the coaching realm, to have these kids, feel like they're being heard, goes a long way. I mean, just the clients that I see or the people I talk to, I hear it a lot. I'm like, mom and dad don't seem to listen, and it could go a long way. And so,
absolutely, that's one of the things I always tell the family is that everybody gets a chance, and you can create a format for the meeting, and everybody gets a chance to run the meeting, and this is where we go back to the concept of, hey, we're going to go out as a family tonight, but allow the kid to choose what were the activities. Let them make the call. Let them feel empowered. That's how and when you feel empowered, you're invested. When you feel like you're forced to do something, you hate it and you get resentful.
Is that so? Everyone in the family is part of that meeting. If there's a younger or someone,
depending on how young we're talking about. I mean, if it's, I think it's critical that everybody be engaged. That's sort of on the adult level, and just be like, hey, let's talk about this, because I want the other siblings to know this is the level of expectation. This isn't just because so and so went to treatment. This is how we roll as a family,
Well, good. Yeah. I mean, open line of communication just goes a long, long way. I got a case right now with a 19-year-old, and that's just an overwhelming, both parents work. I mean, they're trying their best. They're trying to provide this heck of a life for everyone. But I don't think what they realize is they're not at home a lot, and they're not being open-minded, and they're not listening to what, it's just like, oh, Johnny's acting up, Johnny's this, Jay's fix them. I mean, well, and it's like, oh, well, he may be trying to tell you something through some of these actions.
Yep. God, Eddie's all over us here. Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. I'm totally with you.
So, well,
so Eddie, go to my go to my YouTube channel, Chronic Hope Institute YouTube channel. Every one of these is there, fully available for free.
What?
Yeah, I know.
I'm not getting any money off this?
Well, you're getting as much as I am.
And now you waited until we were a lot. No. Go check it out. We do this.
Yeah. Hey, Alex Castro. But Eddie, give me a call. We'll figure it out. Alex Castro is one of the greatest therapists I've ever met in my entire life. And I mean that dead seriously. He's an incredible man, incredible therapist, does incredible work. You know what he does? And you need to do this. Don't
tell me what I need to do here.
Alex does this amazing, he's a Jungian therapist. He's a trained Jungian therapist. By the way, he goes to Zurich, to the Jungian Institute, to train. Okay. You have to be invited to do that. But he does this absolutely amazing. He has Jungian, what the hell are they called?
Should I know what the Jungian things or whatever?
Carl Jung.
Oh, you should have just said that. I'm a very simple person. You use these big terms and you lose me. No, I got it.
They're called Jungian archetype cards. And he does this amazing thing where you pick the cards and he reads them and talks to you about them. And it's archetypal psychology. See, look at that. And it's freaking amazing. Alex, put your website in there. And it's an amazing reading that he does. And he did one for me when I was in Costa Rica with him. And it was, Jay, it was amazing. It was emotional, and it was a little eerie. And it's not like getting your tarot cards read. It's not anything goofy like that. I mean, I was teasing him the whole time, but it was very much about engaging in who you are and what you are. There it is, transcendingconsultinggroup.com. Look at us pimping other people, as we should be.
Well, you lost me, and I'm not getting any money off the downloads. I just want to shut it down now. But no,
I'll tell you, I'll split everything 50-50 with you as soon as there's something to split. But definitely, I'm telling you, definitely go check out Alex's website and take a look at the Jungian archetypal card readings. It is,
wow.
and I've been sending my clients to it, and they're just like, "Woo, this is incredible." I mean, it's absolutely incredible. So my wife is a executive recruiter for like C-level people, big deal in her industry, and she's going to start using his system as a personality type testing, as opposed to some of them older traditional, like the Myers-Briggs and that sort of thing. She got her cards read too, and she was like, "This is more valid and more significant than the stuff that we use." So I'm telling you, it's legit. Anyway, enough of that.
Well, always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Let's do this each and every Wednesday. So yeah, everyone started coming in the front door, and we were pretty much done. So I feel a little, they're late to the party, but 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday. You can check out replays. Go to the Chronic Hope YouTube. Go to chronichope.us. I love doing this. So I kid because of the money for the download. I love doing this each and every week. The questions keep coming in, and you're making a difference, Mr. Petersen.
As are you, my brother. And it's really good to see you. It's really good to talk to you. And I'm going to go watch Jeopardy.
It's such a simple man. All right. I'll see you next week.
All right, bro.